Moment of truth, guys.
Yeah, that needs to be laying against the head.
And just a reminder, you can get these gaskets at Fox Mustang Restoration, foxresto.com. That's actually a blood stain.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're getting to experience the full plethora of things that mechanics go through with this.
It seems like it. Hello everyone, welcome back to Gearhead 704. I'm Matt, in case you're new to the channel. And we're kind of in the middle still of a process of videos where I'm trying to change the intake manifold on my 89 convertible Cobra clone to a GT40 intake manifold. We've moved along a little bit further in the process, and today we are finally going to put the intake manifold on the car. That's the hope anyway. Haven't started work yet, but the plans are to get the intake manifold on the car and get the car running today and drivable again. So this is definitely going to be like kind of like a how-to video with highlights. I am not a professional mechanic or even a shade tree mechanic or really any kind of mechanic. I am kind of a noob and still learning. So this could be entertaining, could be fun, and that's kind of the idea. But I will show you guys what the steps are. So if you're new to this as well, hopefully you can follow along. But we do have a couple things. So if you'll remember from the very first video, the reason why we could not put the intake on that day, this is the lower intake, is due to this right here. Actually, let's see. I don't think that's the new piece. Nope. Turn this guy around here. So this is the lower GT40. And this hunk of metal, this chunk of metal was missing, where you can see now that it actually has been added on here. And it's been drilled and tapped and cleaned, and this is actually looking pretty good. This is, of course, the other side. But yeah, we now have something for the fuel rails to attach to. And before, we really didn't have that. So that's all taken care of. Kannapolis Engines took care of that repair for me. I think it was like 80 bucks, which I didn't think was too bad because they also completely cleaned it and made everything ready to go to mount today. The other thing we have is, of course, the upper intake manifold. And this is, again, a GT40. It looks really pretty. We do have one spot back here. It's got a big dent, but that's not really going to be seen. And this thing was filthy, guys, but this is how it turned out. So if you didn't see, my wife, Tiffany, was the one that actually did most of the work bringing this thing back to life and spray painting it. And of course we cleaned it and everything, but she did most of the spray painting work. And I gotta say, it looks really good, actually. I'm happy with how it turned out. You know, it's not like a full sandblasting, tear it down to metal, repaint it deal. So there are some problems, but I think overall, this is gonna pass inspection. And also too, the other thing with that is this intake's probably only gonna be on the car less than a year. You know, I'm just getting it on there to get it running right now, get the car to Mustang week. I have a new throttle body going on, and that's basically it for now. Then we're gonna really start working on the SSP. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I also have an 88 SSP coupe and former Florida Highway Patrol car. That's gonna be the bulk of the content, I hope, right after this video, after we get the convertible running again, ready for Mustang week. So, enough of me talking, enough of me ranting. Let's go ahead and get started on the build. And by the way, guys, I am here at Fox Mustang Restoration. If I didn't say that already, Matt is the one that's helping me out. He's one of the owners here. And also from the previous video, I had taken off the valve covers because I wasn't sure what kind of head I had. I wanted to figure out what kind of heads I had at the time. So the last time I was here, the valve covers were actually off. So you can see I do have the one side bolted on right now, but I figured I would go ahead and show you guys bolting the other side on here. So let me go ahead and set up the time lapse. It's just 6 bolts, and it was pretty easy to do with everything else out of the way, like all the lower intake and stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick and show you guys. It's basically two bolts, two types of bolts that you have. Your basic one here. There's 2 like this for each side, and these actually go near the front of the valve covers, basically right there and right there. So I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. I'm gonna put these longer ones, and what this is meant to do is it's meant to hold the factory spark plugs. Mine are actually being held up by these, but I just wanna still do it the right way. So I'm gonna put these 2 bolts on the outer side of this passenger side, rather, cylinder head, the valve cover. So I'm gonna put these 2 there. All right, guys, so I got the old Edelbrock intake manifold here, lower intake, and what I'm doing is I'm taking off some of the sensors in the for the computer, and also my new instrument cluster. I got to take those off because obviously we're moving them over to the GT40 intake over here. So I'm going to do that real quick and check in with you guys in a second. All right, the other thing I've got to do is this is my thermostat housing, and I need to clean this up here. It's still got some gasket material left, so I just got a razor blade to do that. So I'm going to do that real quick, and also the same thing on the other side of the lower intake here is I just want to clean this off as well. Although this is pretty clean already, but probably take one more shot at it with the razor blade. Guys, one thing I am going to go for today is, I don't know if you can see right here, that's actually a blood stain. So my goal is to not bleed today. So let's see if I meet that goal this time of not bleeding.
You're gonna go here. You're gonna put the lube on, the silicone on there. You're gonna put that on. You see how everything lines up?
Yeah.
And then what I do to help hold everything in place, I'll go ahead and put the 2 thermostat bolts through there. Yeah, then at that point, you're just gonna go ahead and bolt it on.
Okay.
And what I tend to do is, once you get it on there, hold the thermostat housing onto the manifold. All right. It's going to keep the thermostat from falling out of place, and then just get one of these starter, and just pull it down so it won't fall out of the Did you follow me?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to get you the RTV. The RTV stands for room temperature vulcanization silicone.
All right, so you guys are probably wondering why this is on my head. Well, actually what I did is I got to use the wire wheel. I got to use a new tool. So some of the bolts had some gunk on them. And so this wire wheel just spins, and what I did was basically just clean them up. So I'm sure you guys know about that at home. But anyway, we are working on assembling the thermostat real quick. So I'm gonna time lapse it, but just show you a couple tips Matt just showed me. So the way you wanna get it in is basically like this, where this piece here is at the top, right here, okay? Because you can put it in like this, but that's not right. It's not going to work correctly. I'm going to take this off my head too. All right. That was to protect my eyes and it hit the floor. So yeah, we want it this way. I've got to clean the inside here a little more. Still got some gunk. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to put my RTV down, thermostat, and then gasket, bolt it down. So I'll time lapse that for you guys, but that's the basic steps.
The only reason we're using silicone right now is just to adhere the gasket to the housing while we install the thermostat.
Okay. So gasket.
Yep. You're just going to line up the 3 holes. Now press the gasket onto there, just get it adhered. And just make sure your thermostat didn't come out of place. And just give it the push down on the thermostat in the housing, and just make sure like it. Hold on. I'm going to stick my hand here real quick.
Yeah.
What we're going to do, you see how it's moving around, but it's hitting sides?
Yeah.
So it's in the recess, it's not above it.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now you're good to attach it. And it's very important to keep all that together and not to let it fall out of the recess while you're installing it.
Keep it just like this.
That's why what y'all usually do is just go ahead and just lay it right up to the housing all the way and hold it on with one hand while starting the bolts with the other.
Okay.
Perfect.
That, right?
There you go. Okay. Yep. And go ahead and get that bolt zipped down.
The back of the intake. Oh, thank you, sir. All right, putting Teflon tape on the sensors right now. Air temperature sensor, got my water temperature sensor, and then this really isn't a sensor. This is just what we're plugging that hole with. All right, so it's time to put the lower intake manifold on, but first, there's some debris that fell down there, so I've got to turn the vacuum cleaner on and clean that up.
All right, man, I believe we're ready for a gasket and to lay the intake down.
Yep.
Yeah, that needs to be laying against the head.
Against the head.
So you're not gonna see the blue stuff.
Okay, just like the gasket, the blue stuff went down on the thermostat.
Right.
Yeah.
If it matters, it'll usually have directions like that.
Okay.
Okay. So what you got to do, these are the same left and right. These are different. These are unique front and back. Okay.
Okay. So these are interchangeable per side.
Yeah. So look right here. You see those wings? How that tab's interlocking?
Yeah.
There you go. So it's going to interlock right there. It holds it in place.
All right.
You may need to, yeah, that's good. Make sure everything lines up. Come over here, same thing. Now these are what you call metal crush gaskets. You see how they're kind of like a metallic and they're kind of bumpy?
Yeah, I do see that.
They're kind of like
not rubbery.
Yeah, they're kind of like a, think of it kind of like a corrugated metal. Not really, but kind of corrugated. But the thing is, they can only be used once. This can be used multiple times just because it's silicone. This can, but really you can't get these. You can't get these without this anyway. So it doesn't really matter. But with something with the valve covers that they do sell it made out of this, you can take your valve covers off and reuse that as many times as you want. Okay. So what we're gonna do now, the gaskets are laid in place. Okay. Then what we're gonna do, and this is the way that I do this. You're gonna put a dab of silicone here and here. Okay.
Where at? Just
on
right
each
above.
corner.
Okay,
on each corner.
Right in front of the tabs, it looks like.
Yeah, well actually it's where the, you see where this line right here?
Yeah.
This is the engine block. Where the engine block meets the head right there, you're gonna put a dab in each corner. Okay. Then you're gonna take these, see how it's got a lip?
Yep.
It's gonna
it fits to it, yeah.
Yeah, right there, okay. There we go, and it kind of just sets like that. This one will set back here. This
just
one actually,
the 2 corners.
See that hole right there?
Yeah.
It's actually got a little line at looks like that hole is filled, so what I would do, oh wait, yeah, someone's filled that hole with silicone. So,
otherwise it would have gone down in there for us.
I would take the pick and clean that out.
Okay.
And then that same thing, dab of silicone underneath, and then I also do a dab of silicone on top.
Do you on top too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, this way you know you're 100% sealed.
And we don't have to use any silicone
through nowhere
here.
else.
That's pretty cool.
Nowhere else. Yeah, when you start using silicone there, that's when you start creating gaps and you start having problems long term.
Okay.
Yeah, the gaskets are made to be used without silicone. There's very specific spots to where they're engineered to where you need it, such as where they're coming together, because this gasket and the metal crush will not mate and seal very well, so you're using the silicone to fill the gap.
All right.
See what I'm saying?
Yep.
Very minimal amount of silicone, which is really what you want to do.
That's the little dab of silicone that was in the back there, so that little piece wouldn't go down. This piece right here is supposed to go down. Yeah, that's the silicone blocking it.
All right, so you can see we already got the dollops of silicone.
Yep.
At each corner. We're gonna take, I've already set the front gasket. We're gonna do the back gasket here.
We got the hole
nice
cleared
little
out.
Line, yeah,
that
we got the hole
lot.
that'll line up, keep it in place.
Wish that had one for the front.
Yeah.
Oh, you can push down on those running tracks.
Yeah, you want to squish that into the silicone. Okay. Now, where's the silicone?
Oh, it's right here.
Now
we got to put it on top, right?
Yeah, now we're just going to put a little bit on top.
Same locations, just on top. Okay.
You got it. There you go.
All right. We got enough on that corner. Oh yeah, I see it now.
Yeah, she's good. Sometimes these gaskets want to push out of place, but when we set the as long as they're pretty much there when we set the intake down,
it'll compress it, right?
Yeah, it'll push everything together. The biggest thing you want to look for when we're putting the intake down, we're just going to make sure that we can still see these when we set it down. Okay. And that when we put the bolts through, the bolts will go through the hole in the gasket, meaning that the gasket is still lined up with the
right, it doesn't get out of line.
Exactly. Okay. So at this point, we're ready to lay the lower intake down.
Moment of truth, guys. The lower's going down.
Here you go. Go ahead and start putting your bolts in. I'm going to get a light and just make sure that everything stayed lined up.
All right, the intake is sealed down. You know, it's not fully sealed because we haven't put all the bolts in yet, but as far as the silicone and the RTV that we put down, that part is good. So right now I'm just gonna go ahead and I've got 16 bolts. I'm gonna go ahead and hand tighten them before we go to the torque specs on them. So I'm just gonna get them hand tight, kind of in a pattern. I don't wanna over tighten it anywhere. So just by hand though. And just a reminder, you can get these gaskets at Fox Mustang Restoration, foxresto.com. And I'm gonna go ahead and put some links to the whole gasket set, along with those cool silicone pieces in the description below. Guys, this is pretty cool. It basically shows you the pattern you should follow for torquing down the bolts. So I'm going to follow that. Basically, I'm hand tightening them first and then we'll torque them that way, but this tells you exactly where you should do it on each bolt. All right, finished the first round of the torque spec and now doing it the second time. We've increased the torque setting, sorry. I was sweating and tired here, guys. All right.
How you doing there, man?
I'm tired.
Your back killing you?
Not too bad.
Good. Yeah, I like that touch. Okay. The injectors, they just pull out like that and just cut the O-ring.
Oh, okay.
All right. And then the new one will just simply slide right over.
Slide right over, okay.
All right. So you're going to replace both top and bottom.
Okay.
That way. Okay. You just start like that. See what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of
wrap it over.
Roll it over.
Okay. You already cut the one off from the bottom?
Yeah. A little bit of dielectric grease. Okay.
Okay.
You're going to put it on the injector O-ring. This is to keep it from binding and pinching and just makes it flow right on. The nice thing about it is the dielectric grease does not dry up, even with the heat. So these things are going to be butter coming off the next time you have to.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys, we're replacing the O-rings like you heard Matt just talking about. And I'm just going to use a razor blade to cut the old one off and then put the new ones on with some dielectric grease this time. Should make it a lot easier to come off. All right, guys, I was down to my last injector. I forgot to time lapse it, and wouldn't you know it? Yeah. There's the blood. We knew the blood was coming. Sorry, that's probably a little gross. I'll go clean this up. All right, time to put the coolant rail and the fuel rails on. Had trouble with some of these bolts going in. We ended up using some anti-seize, and especially the new area here that was tapped. Had to go ahead and thread that a little bit more. It actually had to tap that one a little more. Excuse me. Had to tap.
I'll tell you what, you're getting to experience the full plethora of things that mechanics go through with this.
It seems like it. Yeah. I mean, it seems like we've hit little problems along the way.
Yeah. That's working on cars, man.
Okay, guys, so you can see I've got paper towels in the upper intake, and there's actually two reasons for that. As we're going to move a lot of wires and stuff over there, we don't want anything falling in those holes, but there's probably a bigger reason for that, and that is that unfortunately I'm going to have to end the video here. It's getting late. I've actually got to get on the road, and this is a weeknight. I kept Matt here pretty late. He was nice enough to help me. He's back over there cleaning up. Oh, by the way, for those of you that are curious, Peaches is running now. Automatic transmission rebuilt, so he did an awesome job on that. So we have Peaches. I don't think Cream is going anywhere just yet, though. But anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna have to stop here, but we did make a lot of progress today. The lower intake is on now. You can see I got the fuel rails bolted down. I got the coolant rail there bolted down. So we're pretty close. I was talking to Matt. He thinks maybe we're an hour and a half away, so we'll see. Obviously for you guys, you won't have to watch that whole thing because I make shorter videos. So unfortunately, I didn't get the car running today, but you know what? We were still waiting on the throttle body anyway. I ordered a 70mm throttle body so it would match up to the GT40, because you know the GT40 has that 70mm opening. Like I talked about, the Edelbrock has the 75, so we can't reuse my old throttle body. So yeah, I will get that next time. That'll probably be the video right after this one. Sorry to keep you guys hanging on this, but hey, this is real. Things just kind of take time, especially when I'm learning, you know. You guys can see I'm doing basically 95% of the work. Matt did kind of help me out with getting the intake sealed there because that was very important. But other than that, he's just kind of showing me what to do, and I'm doing all the work. So take some time. Appreciate you guys hanging in there. Anyway, if you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button. If you're stopping in for the first time, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Gearhead 704. For those of you that hung around until the end, there's always something new and cool here at Fox Mustang Restoration that Matt has found. Check this out.
Another original dealership sign.
The new breed. Wait, it even says something behind it.
Well,
Oh, okay, that's on the other side. Okay.
That's for a whole different.
Right. Now on display. I got you. 79 Mustang and a 79 LTD. Which one? Hey, they're both FoxBodies, right?
They are.
Look at that. Which one would you rather have at home, folks? The 79 LTD or a 79 Mustang? I think I already know the answer. That's awesome, dude.